It was a cold, quiet morning in the small, snowy village. The sun was hiding behind gray clouds, and the wind was sharp like tiny knives. Old Mr. Harold stood at his window, sipping hot tea. He had lived in that lonely house for many years. He liked the peace, the snow, and the silence. But that morning, something felt different. When Mr. Harold opened his front door to get firewood, he stopped. His eyes looked down at the snow. There were small footprints, very small, not like any normal child or animal. The shape was strange, 3 toes, a bit round and deep like the creature was heavy. He bent down, touched the print, and frowned. Strange, ... No children come here, he said to himself. And no animal I know walks like this. He followed the prints with his eyes. They led from the road to his porch, then disappeared under his window. Mr. Harold shook his head and brought the wood inside. Maybe it was just some wild creature, nothing to worry about. But deep in his heart, he felt uneasy. That night, the wind howled louder. Snow hit the windows like tiny pebbles. Mr. Harold sat near the fireplace, reading an old book. The warm fire crackled, and all seemed normal until he heard it click. Click. Tap. He turned his head slowly. The sound came from upstairs. From the attic? He waited, holding his breath. Tap, tap. A slow, soft sound like something walking, but not like human footsteps. It was lighter, quicker, different. He grabbed his flashlight and walked up the stairs. Each step creaked under his weight. The attic door was closed. Slowly, he opened it. Darkness. He turned on the flashlight. Anyone there? He asked. Voice shaky. No answer. He looked around. Dust. Old boxes. Empty chairs. Nothing moved. Just. As he was about to leave, he saw something on the floor. A small piece of paper. His old dollar bills, scattered. Wait. What? Quit. He whispered 10. He had kept some money hidden in a tin box in the attic for emergencies. He rushed to the box. It was half open. Some money was missing. Mr. Harold stood there, heart beating fast. Who came here, and how did they get in? He checked the window. It was still locked. No signs of break-in. But the footprints outside, the strange sounds, the missing money. Something was wrong. The next morning, he went outside again. Snow had fallen fresh overnight. But just near the porch, he saw them again. The same tiny footprints. They were coming out of the house this time, in and out. The creature, whatever it was, had come back again. Mr. Harold looked around. No neighbors nearby. No cameras. Just snow. Wind and silence. He decided not to tell anyone. Who would believe him? A strange, tiny thief. No one would take him seriously. But he knew this was no ordinary thief. No normal child could move that fast. No regular animal could open a money box without breaking it. And no one could walk on snow without leaving more signs. He spent the whole day checking every door, every window, every corner of his house. But everything was locked. Everything was normal, except the feeling in his chest. That strange feeling that he was being watched. That night, he sat with a notepad in hand. He drew the footprints as best he could. He wrote the time he heard. The sound. He made notes of the money lost. He was going to catch this thief no matter what. But as he sat near the fireplace again, staring into the flames, the wind outside grew louder, and behind it, he heard it once more. Click, tap, tap, coming from the attic. Again, Mr. Harold didn't move. He just whispered, "Whatever you are, I will find you." Asterisk, it was 2:47 a.m. The clock ticked louder than usual. The fire in the chimney had died hours. A goat and cold air crept into the corners of the house. Mr. Harold was not sleeping. He sat in his chair, eyes half closed, but mind wide awake. He had stayed up on purpose. Something was coming. He felt it. A small lamp lit the room dimly. Silence covered everything like a thick blanket. Then it happened. The curtain moved, not because of wind. The window was shut tight. But the curtain moved, like something passed behind it. Slow, silent, careful. Mr. Harold didn't move. He just watched. The shadow behind the curtain was small, maybe the size of a child, but the shape was wrong. Too thin. Head too big. The way it moved quick and smooth wasn't normal. His heart raced. His hands clenched the armrest. Then, the shadow disappeared. He jumped up and pulled the curtain open. Nothing, no one. Just the cold window and the snow outside. But he knew what he saw. A shadow can't lie. In the morning, Mr. Harold decided it was time to take action. He took an old security camera from the garage, something his brother gave him years ago, and set it up in the living room, pointing toward the hallway. He placed a small stack of coins on the table, like bait. This time, he said to himself, "I'll catch you." That evening, everything looked normal again. He made soup, read a book, even whistled a little. But inside, he was alert. He left the room at midnight and went upstairs. The camera was on. The coins were there. He didn't sleep. He waited. Next morning, he rushed downstairs. The coins were gone. All of them. And the camera was still working, with shaking hands. He took the memory card and put it in his laptop. He opened the video at first. Nothing. Just an empty room. Then, at 3:12 a.m., something moved in the corner of the frame. A blur. The screen shook a little. Then, it appeared, a small figure, almost invisible. No clothes, just smooth silver-gray skin, eyes glowing dim blue. Its hands were long, thin, with 3 fingers. It walked fast but light. It didn't make any sound. The creature walked to the coins, picked them up one by one, and dropped them into a pouch tied to its side. Then it looked straight at the camera, for 3 full seconds, as if it knew. Then it vanished. Mr. Harold sat, frozen. He couldn't believe what he had seen. That's not a kid. Not even human. He watched the video 3 more times. Every time, the fear grew deeper. But there was something else, too. In those blue eyes. Not just cleverness, but sadness. Why was it stealing? What did it want? Where did it come from? He didn't have the answers. But one thing was clear. This was not a normal thief. That night, he didn't lock the doors. Instead, he left a small note on the table beside some coins. The note read, "I saw you. Come back. I won't hurt you." He left the light on and sat in the darkness across the room, hiding behind a chair. He waited and waited. Hours passed. The clock hit 4 a.m. Still nothing. He sighed just as he was about to stand up. He heard it, a soft clicking sound. Then the shadow returned. But this time, it wasn't behind the curtain. It was standing in front of him. The creature had vanished again. It stood in front of Mr. Harold for only 3 seconds, then blinked out of sight. Like smoke in the wind, Mr. Harold didn't sleep that night. He replayed the image in his head, over and over. Small body, silver. Skin, glowing blue eyes. And that look not angry, not evil, just strange. And sad, but it had taken his money again. Why? Why would it need it for? Enough was enough. If it came back, he was going to stop it. The next morning, the sky was white. Heavy snow fell without a sound. The world outside looked like a quiet, frozen painting. Inside, Mr. Harold was busy building something. A trap, not to hurt the creature, but to catch it. To finally get answers, he used a fishing net, old wires, and a pressure plate from his shed. He placed the coins on a wooden table. When the last coin was lifted, the net would fall and trap whatever stood below. He tested it. It worked perfectly. He set the trap and waited. Midnight came. Then 1 a.m. Then 2. The house was silent. Mr. Harold sat in the dark, holding his breath. Then it happened. Click, tap, tap. He heard the familiar sound. The quiet movement. Something entered the room. From his hiding place, he saw the air shift like heat waves in the cold. The coins lifted 1, 2, 3, dot, then dash snap. The net dropped fast. Scree, a scream filled the room. High, sharp. Not like anything human or animal. It shook the walls. The sound was painful, like metal tearing. Mr. Harold ran forward, flashlight in hand. Inside the net was the creature it didn't fight. It sat, shaking, breathing fast. Its eyes glowed brighter, now afraid, like a cornered child. Mr. Harold's heart softened. He had expected a monster. But this thing looked lost. Easy, I'm not going to hurt you, he said, voice calm. The creature didn't speak. Then it did something strange. It opened its small pouch, took out a shiny object, a coin. But not a normal one. It was glowing blue, smooth, warm. Mr. Harold reached for it. The moment he touched it, his mind filled with images. Stars, planets, a broken ship falling through space, a crash, snow, fear, silence. Then, him, the old man. Mr. Harold fell back, gasping. What was that? The creature spoke hits. Voice broken, soft, almost robotic. Not thief, need, power, signal. Home, its head lowered. Ship, broken, I. Alone, the room was silent again. Mr. Harold sat beside the net, staring at the small being. It wasn't here to hurt him. It wasn't stealing for greed. It was trying to go home. And now, he knew. The visitor in his house wasn't a monster, it was a child from the stars, lost, cold, and running out of time. Asterisk. Mr. Harold had never seen the stars so clearly. He sat by the window that night, the strange glowing coin still in his hand. It pulsed softly blue light in a rhythm, like a tiny heartbeat. Every time it blinked, he felt something. Not pain, not fear, just loneliness. Upstairs, the creature rested inside a blanket. The trap was gone. Mr. Harold had cut it loose. It hadn't tried to run. It hadn't made a sound since the scream. It just sat, small and quiet, like a lost child in a giant world. For the first time in years, Mr. Harold felt something he thought was long gone. Purpose. The next morning, the snow had stopped. The house was calm. In the living room, the creature sat on the floor, legs crossed, blue eyes watching the fire. Mr. Harold brought a cup of warm milk. He placed it on the floor. The creature looked at it. No poison, Mr. Harold said. Just milk. Warm. The creature blinked. Then, slowly, it touched the cup, held it, smelled it, tasted it. It smiled just a little. Then, it spoke, voice low, words broken, mechanical and soft. Name. Lumo. Mr. Harold raised his eyebrows. Lumo, that's your name. It nodded. Lumo, scout, small ship, broken crash. Snow. Mr. Harold sat down, stunned. You came from space. Lumo nodded again. Ship need. Signal. Metal. Human coin. Works, not steel. Need help. Mr. Harold looked at the table. The missing coins, the glowing blue chip. Pieces started to fit. You were building something, he whispered. To send a message, Lumo opened his small pouch and showed more glowing pieces, some coins, wires, and a strange tool shaped like a claw. Must call home. No time. Others may come. Not good ones. That last sentence made Mr. Harold pause. Others. What do you mean not? Good. Lumo looked at the window, then, slowly, pointed to the sky. Mr. Harold walked into the basement, the old stairs creaking under his feet. Dust filled the air. Old junk lay forgotten in corner stools, radio parts, wires, metal scraps. He used to build radios with his brother long ago. Now, maybe he could build something again. He called down the stairs, "Lumo, come here." Lumo floated down silently, his feet barely touched the wood. Mr. Harold showed him the table full of metal. "Use what you need," he said. Lumo's eyes glowed brighter. Hope they worked together all night. Mr. Harold twisted wires. Lumo powered small parts with the glowing coins. It wasn't easy. The machine sparked. It smoked. It even buzzed with strange static, but piece by piece, a signal device began to form. A mix of human metal and alien light. A strange tower of hope. At 3:03 a.m., the signal blinked once. Then again, then faster. Lumo smiled. His small fingers tapped buttons. They hear me now. Signal sent. Mr. Harold leaned back in his chair, tired but smiling. But the smile didn't last long, because outside the house, something moved. Not in the snow. Above it, a black drone, silent, watching. The machine was alive, tiny lights blinked in rhythm. Blue sparks crawled along the wires. Sat in the center of Mr. Harold's basement like a glowing heart. Beating in silence, Lumo stood beside it, his silver fingers tapping codes. His face calm, but focused. The signal had been sent, but peace didn't come. Instead, something darker had arrived. Outside, above the trees, a black shape hovered in the snow-filled sky. No sound. No lights, just watching. The drone dot. Mr. Harold didn't see it yet, but Lumo did. His eyes changed, no longer blue, but white. Pure white. Reflecting danger. He looked at Mr. Harold. They found me. Must hide. Who? Harold asked. Heart sinking. But Lumo didn't answer. Instead, he ran back into the shadows of the basement. Hiding behind boxes and tools, Mr. Harold locked the door, confused and alert. The next day, Mr. Harold stood on his porch. Snow crunched under his boots. The morning was too quiet. Then he heard a soft hum in the air, like a mosquito. But louder. He looked up. Nothing but something was there. He could feel it. He turned back inside and locked every door, every window. Trouble's coming, he muttered. I can feel it in my bones. Down in the basement, Lumo sat quietly, scanning the machine. The signal had gone out, but no answer had returned. Mr. Harold brought him a sandwich. He placed it on the table. Lumo didn't eat. He just stared. Food. Not needed now, he whispered. Harold sat beside him. Lumo, you said others are coming. Who are they? Lumo looked up slowly. His voice dropped low. Hunters. Not like me. No peace. No talking. Just take. Harold's face turned pale. Aliens. Lumo shook his head. Not aliens. Humans. Different kind. You call them government. Harold sat back, stunned. He remembered something. Years ago. During the war, he had worked on secret radio parts. The government had sent strange tools devices they didn't explain. One piece in particular had never worked. It glowed sometimes, then stopped. He had hidden it, locked it away in a box. He stood up, walked to the far corner of the basement, pulled away a wooden panel, reached deep into the wall. His hand found the old box. Inside, a small metal cube, dusty, cold, but glowing faintly. Lumo's eyes widened. He stepped forward, staring at the cube. You had this, he said, voice shaking. What is it? Harold asked. Lumo took it gently in his hands. The cube lit up, instantly bright white lines spinning around it. This is not from Earth? Harold blinked. Then how did I get it? Lumo's voice was quiet. They were here before. Long ago. Your people found their tools, but never understood. He connected the cube to the signal machine. It changed everything. The lights turned red. The signal blinked faster. The air became warmer, then a sharp sound, like a whisper inside the mind. Incoming message received. Lumo smiled for the first time. They heard me. My people are coming. But at the same time, a loud knock echoed upstairs. Bang, bang, bang. 3 slow knocks on the front door. Mr. Harold froze. No one ever visited his house, especially not during a snowstorm. He looked at Lumo. Lumo's voice turned cold. Do not open it. Asterisk, the knocks came again. Bang, bang, bang. 3 times. No more, no less. Mr. Harold stood frozen in the hallway. The sound didn't feel like a neighbor's knock or a stranger asking for help. It felt like a warning. Behind him, Lumo whispered from the basement stairs. Don't open it. They're not here for talking. Mr. Harold slowly stepped to the window beside the door. He didn't move the curtain, just peeked through the corner. What he saw turned his stomach cold. 3 black cars, windows tinted, engines still running in the snow, and beside the porch stood 2 men. Black coats, black gloves. Oh, no snow on their shoulders, even though it was still falling. They didn't shiver. They didn't speak, just waited. One of them looked straight at the window directly, where Harold was peeking as if he knew. Harold stepped back. He didn't answer the door. Instead, he went to the kitchen and turned on the radio. Like he couldn't hear the knock. Then he walked quickly back to the basement. They're not from around here, he said. Lumo nodded. They track energy. My signal. Too strong, will they hurt you? Harold asked. Lumo didn't answer. He didn't have to. Minutes passed, the knocks never came again. But when Harold checked the driveway later, the cars were gone. Just tracks in the snow. But something was left behind. A small black device stuck to the edge of his porch light, almost invisible. A tracker. They knew where he was. And worse, they weren't done yet. That night, Harold couldn't sleep. He sat in the attic where he had once set the trap. Now it held boxes, tools, and secrets. Lumo sat near the window, watching the sky. Your people. How long will they take? Harold asked. Lumo stared at the stars. Soon ours, but if I stay, they will follow. You mean the men? Lumo shook his head. Not just men, machines, hunters, cold ones. Then, as if on cues a radio, crackled static. Then a voice. This is Agent Reeve. We know what you found. Open your door, Mr. Harold. This is your only warning. The radio went silent. Harold stared at it. The machine in the basement. The cube. It's a creature now sitting in his attic. He had to choose by morning. Harold had packed 2 bags. Food, batteries, tools, coins, and the glowing cube. He handed 1 bag to Lumo. We're leaving, he said. Where? Lumo asked. To the ridge, Harold replied. Up in the hills. Clear view. If your people are coming, they'll find you there. Lumo looked at the old man. You help me. Why? Harold gave a small, tired smile. Because once, long ago, someone helped me, and I never said thank you. They left before noon, by the time the agents returned. The house was empty. Only the fire still burned, and in the ashes of the fireplace, Harold had left a message written in metal wire, too. Late. The snowstorm hit without warning. Winds roared like wolves. Trees bent and groaned. The sky turned white. swallowing the world in a blur. Somewhere in the hills, two shadows moved against the storm. One was tall, wearing a thick coat and boots. The other was small, silver-skinned, eyes glowing faintly under a hood. Mr. Harold and Lumo were running out of time. They had reached the highest ridge before sunrise. Wind cut across their faces. The old signal device, now powered by the alien cube, stood on a rock like a beacon. Lumo adjusted the antenna. Mr. Harold covered it with his coat to protect it. From the wind, Lumo checked the scanner. He looked up. There. Close. Your people. Harold asked. Lumo hesitated, then shook his head slowly. No, the others. Down in the village, 3 black cars had returned. But this time, they didn't knock. They broke the door. Agents in black suits swept through. Harold's empty house. One of them held a scanner. It beeped louder as it pointed toward the hills. He gave a silent nod. The hunt began back on the ridge. The storm grew stronger. The signal device sparked and wind. Lumo pressed his hand on the cube. It lit up again, brighter than ever. Suddenly, the snow around them shifted, not from wind, from sound. A deep hum, like thunder beneath the ground. Then the sky cracked. A beam of soft white light fell through the clouds. It didn't burn. It didn't blind. It felt warm like sunlight after winter. Mr. Harold stepped back, amazed. Lumo looked up at the light. They're here. He reached for the cube and paused, then turned to Harold, held out his hand. Inside it was a small orb, smooth, glowing, like a crystal heart. For you, Lumo said. What is it? Harold asked. Lumo smiled gently. Memory, truth, proof, home. If you need it. Before Harold could speak, they heard engines' dark shapes moved through the snow below. Agents climbing fast, one pointed up, shouted, Harold. Stood in front of Lumo. No more running. The light from above widened. A circle. A doorway. Lumo touched Harold's shoulder. Eyes kind. Voice soft. Thank you, old one. Then he stepped into the light. In a blink he was gone. The light vanished with him. The agents reached the top seconds later, guns ready, but they found only one man standing in the snow, old, cold, and smiling. They searched his bag. They questioned him for hours, but they found nothing. No alien, no machine, no proof, just a single glowing orb. He kept in his hand. They took it. It turned to dust in their truck before they reached. The highway weeks passed. The snow melted. The house remained quiet. No one talked about what happened, but every night, Harold sat by the window, looking at the stars. Sometimes one would blink twice, then vanish, and he would whisper, Safe travels, Lumo.